So
specifically around constables and Creekside Park.
So right now, this is a graphic that shows the 5-year transition agreement, and it also shows how we're going to, over time, develop a Woodlands Police Department. We do have a contract, so when you see videos saying that we're dismantling police or that we're going to have public safety at risk, it's factually inaccurate. We actually have a contract. In year 1, there's absolutely no change. So the day after incorporation would pass, we don't lose any of our current law enforcement resources. We gain. A city will hire a police chief to start working on building out the long-term Woodlands Police Department. And in our contract with Montgomery County, we self-restricted the city from drawing down too many contract patrol deputies so that we would have a slow process of onboarding our own personnel, right? We have to hire, train, and develop people. We may have to recruit from other areas. And the county wanted time in order to absorb some of the existing personnel into their own budget. I mean, right now, the Woodlands Township is funding 92 patrol deputies. That's $12 million a year. The county doesn't have the money to fund law enforcement adequately, which is why we're having to substantially fund the majority of law enforcement out here. That's also why the cost for us becoming our own police department isn't as high as people would think, because between the 2 counties and the purchasing of vehicles, we're spending $14 million in our current year budget for law enforcement. And when we go through this process of starting to pay for county personnel that we currently don't pay for, and starting to add the backroom service support people and our own law enforcement, we end up with a fully loaded Woodlands Police Department, but we've budgeted that out over the 5 years. And we're able to absorb those costs through new revenues we receive as a city, and from the increase of inflationary things, sales tax and reappraisals.
So
And that's
the question was what happens in Creekside, and it looks like it just stays the same, stays the same, stays the same.
That's right. So Creekside, and there's a reason why we're doing that. And if you look also in the Montgomery County Constable's office, we're keeping the same. These are, in the Constable's office, those are specialists. They're working on crimes against children, internet crimes, pornography, sex trafficking, and things like that. There's no reason to replicate that specialty if there's already people that we can contract with that. And even though, you see the patrol deputies are off on the county side, we're still gonna have in our contract access to SWAT, crime lab, major crime detectives, auto theft task force, the jail. I mean, I had somebody tell me that, oh, you're gonna have to build a jail in town center. No, we don't. Jails are county-wide services in both Harris County and Montgomery County. They are covered by our county tax. We do not have to build a jail. Right? We do not have to build a Taj Mahal Police Department either.
Exactly.
The township owns facilities already in our boundaries, and we can leverage our existing town hall to house some of our law enforcement needs. But we also have a fire station on Branch Crossing that we're going to repurpose likely as a satellite law enforcement facility and reconstruct a different fire station over by the Park and Ride on Ashland Way. We have the Rob Fleming Rec Center, and we have land adjacent to that. We could add a substation in Creekside Park. So we don't have to do things as expensive as other cities do, because we do have other land and or facilities that we can leverage in order to keep those construction costs down.
And specifically then, let's go back to the constable. Is that the constable providing service because they are Montgomery County constables for our area, or is that somebody that we are contracting to provide services?
You guys are the officers, are too.
So you get down to it, Montgomery County is woefully underfunded for law enforcement, right? If you just take the basic numbers of officers you should have per capita, right, or per population, you should have 1 law enforcement personnel for each 1,800 people. That's just standard. You can go Google standard law enforcement. Today, we're funding 92, they're providing 19. In Montgomery County, we're over 100,000 people. How many should they be funding just to be at a level service based on law enforcement standards? It's somewhere around 55 to 56. So they're using our budget, our township tax, to subsidize the Montgomery County budget while we're not running around telling everybody, hey, look, we're doing a great job, there's nothing broken. There are things that are broken. The county was not designed to service a major urban area like the Woodlands. And they're certainly not funding the services that we need when it comes to law enforcement, we are. So, you asked about year 6. The reason we're keeping constables on contract is it's a good,
Stop right there. So are the constables under contract?
Yeah.
In other words, we have hired them.
The city hires the
Yeah.
It's
county.
not the constables doing their regular job.
No, it
It's
is.
us hiring them.
no, so it's a contract with the county.
Yeah,
So it's not like you're hiring somebody to go work a birthday party,
yeah.
right? Those are constables on overtime or
Moonlighting.
on their own time. These are actual employees of the county working for our benefit in our district. And the reason we kept them in place is that gives us a greater connectivity to the larger Harris County law enforcement contingent.
But I mean, it looks like Montgomery County constables are servicing the Woodlands at no charge. I mean,
No, we're paying these,
yeah. It's
We're paying
sort of
for
like
those.
Some of these are paid by us,
right?
and some of, well, I guess all of them.
All of those are
Well,
paid
other
by
than
us.
All but the
The
19
19 is the only thing that's not.
is the only thing that is not
We're
being
paying
paid.
for.
That's correct.
Okay, sorry, I got you back. Go back down to Creekside. What happened?
Creekside, we're just leaving those contracts in place so that we have connectivity to the Harris County law enforcement resources, because we'll still use Harris County Jail, we'll use Montgomery County Jail, and then we
Whichever one
pick
is
up the
closer.
additional support team you get from those peripheral law
So when
enforcement.
our little police cars are running around,
Yep.
they're gonna say the city of the Woodlands.
Right.
Are they gonna go down to Creekside?
Yes. So one of the distinctions between the police department and county law enforcement is the police department has authority in our entire boundary, regardless of what county we're in.
Mhm.
And so, they also can enforce laws that county sheriffs and county constables cannot. So when the city has ordinance of law authority, we can put in that no-through truck ordinance to keep 18-wheelers off Research Forest, Woodlands Parkway, Gosling, and Kirkendall as cut-throughs. That can be enforced by our police department.
No dog barking, no fireworks, no rage parties.
When you talk about the tree ordinances, to protect, our trees from being cut down, that's a stronger ordinance than a covenant that says you can't cut a tree down.
Exactly.
So effectively, if I was standing in Creekside Park on year 6, I might see Woodlands police running around, and I might see Harris.
Yes.
Right, that's
But
correct.
basically, right now, they only see Harris.
That's correct.
They actually would pick
They're
up
gonna see
that.
both. They're gonna see both year one.
Yeah. But
Be-
yeah.
Because our plan is to leverage the facilities we have and have a substation in Creekside Park, have a substation on the western part of the Woodlands, and have a smaller central station, closer to the town center. That, just like our fire department, we have 8 fire stations, so we're in close proximity for response times. We wanna replicate the community policing model we already have that proves out to be very beneficial, and our patrols will be able to patrol regardless of what county they're in. So it'll be more efficient, because the 12 guys in Harris County that are on contract can't do anything in Montgomery County, and the 92 guys we're paying for in Montgomery County can't go do anything in Harris County. Where 100% of the folks on the Woodlands Police can go anywhere within our boundaries. We also have an opportunity to look into becoming our own 911 primary service center. So right now, when you call 911 in Montgomery County, it goes to the county, and then it gets referred back to the local agency. When you call 911 in Harris County, it gets bounced around all over the place.
Yeah.
And because the Woodlands is such a small footprint in Harris County, a lot of times they don't know that you're in the Woodlands. So it can end up in Tomball, an accident, or it can end up in the wrong ESD, Emergency Service District. So as a 911 primary function for public safety, all calls in the Woodlands would start in the Woodlands. And then we have already our own dispatch center for the fire department. The 911 fees and all of our utility bills would actually transfer to the town or the city, and that would supplement the cost of having our own primary 911 dispatch. So that's gonna reduce your response times for calls for service, because you're starting in the actual location where you're at.
Mhm.
So, let me ask you, are you saying that the Harris County police officers will not cross into Montgomery County even if they're asked for assist?
So the Harris County constables that are on contract don't have authority in Montgomery County.
Exactly.
Whereas the Woodlands Police Department, our officers have authority on both sides.
I'm
So you have
talking
mutual
about right
aid,
now.
yeah.
If there's something big going down, they're shooting somebody.
Those will be mutual
Will
aid.
those Harris County police officers be able to come into Montgomery County if that?
Yeah, if they're under a mutual aid agreement, they come in. No different than the fire departments, like our fire department will respond to a fire outside of the Woodlands if it's a large event. right? And so there are mutual aid agreements that you put in public safety, and that does take us outside of our boundaries. But for like normal day-to-day things, they're not supposed to be outside
Now, I know
there.
from another meeting that you said that we bought, the police cars for our 92 policemen. Did we also buy the ones for Harris County and the 19 for Montgomery County or not?
So, these 19 are all funded by Montgomery County. These 92 are 100% funded by the township. On the 12 in Creekside Park, we do not buy their cars. We fund their salaries, their overtime, their retirement plans, the actual personnel costs. But the Harris County contract model doesn't require us to buy their assets. All these cars we bought for the 92, we don't get them back. The county's gonna keep them, even though we bought them.
And the 19 comes out of taxes that we pay as
All
county
this is,
residents.
we're paying for these through our county taxes.
We're just paying twice,
Yeah.
at least.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes?
The city of Conroe, do they have a hybrid police model as well?
The
Or
city
do
of-
they
yeah.
duplicate all of the SWAT team, hostage negotiation and all that?
Yeah, the city of Conroe is not using the same model we are. The city of Conroe chose to build their own SWAT team. We see no reason to replicate an existing effective SWAT team. Just so you understand,
That gets really
when we
expensive.
become our own police, we don't lose the constable's office here in District 6. We don't lose the state highway patrol office here in District 6. We don't lose the sheriff's office, District 6. We're still gonna have a tremendous amount of law enforcement sitting here in the Woodlands because their offices are here. And so for us, when we looked at it, it's like, we don't need to create SWAT and auto theft task force and major crimes detectives. Those are county services. We want to take on the things that we think we could do well as a community, which is community policing, your lower level crimes, adjudicated by our local police department.
Most small departments don't have those.
No, no other city in Montgomery County has any of those other ancillary services that we have under contract and that are countywide services. Conroe chose to do their own, so.
And we wouldn't have to have our own animal shelter or anything like that.
We would have to deal with animal control, which means we would contract either with the county or the city of Conroe.
I know Conroe has their own along
Right.
with Montgomery County. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, and we looked at it, we're not a tremendous feeder to the
Yeah.
animal shelter. Our community's not. We're probably more of a recipient
Right.
out of the shelter. And, we're more of a save the animal community
Oh, gosh, yeah.
than that. So, we looked at that. We would be responsible for having to pay for what comes out of our footprint into those shelters, but we don't have to recreate it.
What's in support services? That seems to be the only thing really growing.
So this is all your back office things. You're gonna have records that we have to respond to as we onboard our own. Could be dispatch personnel, could be some of these people up here that are, or some of these people are back office, some of these 19. So it's just support services for the department.
And I assume dispatch can be integrated with fire department dispatch.
It
That's what-
can be,
Yeah.
so we haven't put together a plan that says, yes, we're gonna be our own 911.
Yeah.
Our fire chief is very supportive of wanting to eventually get to that PSAP where we are our own primary dispatch, because he sees it would be an increased response time, and we wouldn't be dealing with the disconnects.
Decreased response.
It's a decreased response time.
Improved
Right,
response
correct.
time.
Improved response times. It's not very bad in Montgomery County, but in Harris County, it is an actual issue.
Yeah.
We will be on scene. Our firefighters are paramedics, and they are almost always the first responder for a medical call or an accident or a fire. They're there first. Within 4 minutes is our average response
That's
time.
impressive.
They have to wait for a transport ambulance, and in Harris County, that's 14 minutes, 20 minutes, which is a long time to wait. So if we didn't step up and go to full paramedics on our fire trucks and actually put that service in our community, we would have people with serious issues because they would not be getting the medical treatment they need, and some medical issues have to be responded to fairly quick. So our full paramedic guys get in there, stabilize, but we have a very slow response time on ambulance services in some areas.
What about training for the new police? I've heard from a lot of people online saying we don't have any training for this.
Well, look, I mean, you can throw shade at just about anything,
I know.
anything we're planning, right?
Yeah.
We run a top-ranked fire department in the entire country. We are in the top 60 out of all fire service operations. We are the
Top 60?
top 60, 60, right? Ranked ISO PPC 1. We have our own training facilities for the fire department. We have additional land we've acquired over the years to work on training facilities for other needs. There are other areas you can train with, so you can leverage.
Are we thinking that people that we're gonna hire on year one, we're gonna hire staff?
You're going to be, look, a lot of the people may be people that are already working for us.
But if there's somebody new, is there a contract service that can train them?
There are people that do that as training as a service,
Yeah.
yes.
They have
There's
to be
junior
licensed by
colleges
the
that have
state.
classes that run through people to get law enforcement certified.
Mm-hmm.
So there are other providers that can do training. You don't have to have your own internal training department. You can leverage external training opportunities.
And you can selectively hire the people. that are-
Exactly.
Right.
A lot of this depends on the police chief.
Right, the police chief's gonna come up with what is the strategy and plan for onboarding our own personnel, and what are we gonna need to do as a community to attract the best and the brightest, right? Because everything we do is top notch,
Yeah.
right? We're not looking for a second-rate service anywhere.
When is the end of year one? Is that November of 2022?
So the end of year one would be, I believe it's October of 22.
So
Because
that
it's the
first-
fiscal year, it's the fiscal year for the county, which is off, it ends in, that's what, September 30th?
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
so at first year, we have to hire a police chief.
First year, we had to hire a police chief, and we contemplated onboarding a very small number of officers.
Yeah,
Because we haven't lost any force here,
yeah,
right? So by the time we've added 7, we've actually increased law enforcement present in the Woodlands.
yeah.
And we don't have to take down the 18, that's the maximum we can take down. So if we're having difficulty onboarding, we don't have to pull down as many out of the contract, and it's at our option.
Nice.
The house across the street from me burned on May the 19th of this year, and the response to that fire was phenomenal. There's no other word to use for that. They brought out a ladder truck that was astonishing. After the fire was over, there were 7 fire trucks that showed up, 2 ambulances, 3 police cars. It was absolutely stunning as we watched what those men did. But after the fire was over, it was still dark. And so they left 1 fire truck there because they never in the dark leave a fire, because they can't be really sure that there's not a smoldering
Exactly.
ember somewhere or whatever. So those guys did. So after everybody cleared out and I knew that they were not doing anything, I walked over and offered to fix them some sandwiches, coffee, stuff like that. And so they got to talking to me, and they told me that fire truck with a ladder, that we have 2 of them in the Woodlands, and that's extraordinarily odd for anybody, little, not even a city, to have anything like that. Now, did we pay for those, or
Oh, yeah.
are they gonna take those away from us too, like the police cars? or
No,
what?
no, we are the fire department.
We own everything.
Yeah, the Woodlands Fire Department is 100% operated by the Woodlands Township. Every asset, every station is ours. Every park, every pool, every pathway is ours. I know that, people get confused about what we do, but we're picking up your trash, we're administrating the HOA covenants, all the HOAs that went away, we're still doing all that work. We're funding law enforcement, we're funding public works in the fact that we do the streetscape maintenance at a tune of $6 million a year. So we are basically doing everything a city does without the status.
How big is our staff now, the Woodlands Township
Staff is probably around 475, somewhere in that range, but that doesn't include the contract personnel.
So we already have a city-sized municipal force, essentially, that we're paying for.
We already are essentially a city.
Yeah.
And just so you understand, we are the city of Shenandoah's fire department,
Huh.
right?
Period.
We are. We are the only fire department Shenandoah has, it's
So how
us.
much do they pay us for that?
I can't tell you that. That's not true, it's public record. They're paying us about $1 million a year.
Wow, that's pretty.
And we're renegotiating with them right now for a longer term deal. So we are another city's fire department, and we are funding substantially a county law enforcement personnel.
Another actual city of less than 5,000 people.
Yeah, right.
So who was supposed to be the fire department if we had taken over? That's not the responsibility of Montgomery County and Harris County?
No, you have in other areas, emergency service districts that stand up, or volunteer fire departments. We've always had our own fire
Like Timber
department.
Lakes, Timber Ridge?
Yeah, it was the HOAs were the ones who were administering the fire departments in the past. All that got merged in when we became a township.
Needham Road had a volunteer fire
Right.
department.
Wayne, did you have your mom's question?
Yes.
Mom, I want to answer for you.
All right. Well,